Welcome to our mini marathon. We're going to be doing a fun set of hearts that are all made of flowers. Let's get started. Good morning and welcome, everyone. This is Deliberately Creative. I am Stephanie. It is a Saturday. For me, it is 9 a.m. Wherever you are in the world, I'm so happy that you're joining us, that you're coming in during the live stream, if you're here during the live. And if you're here afterwards and you've got the time-stamped video, you can skip ahead back and forth along the timeline on the bottom of the video, and you'll be able to choose which heart you are drawing at any one time. But during the live stream, you're stuck with me in my timeline. You know, that I kind of like that. You're stuck with me in my timeline during the live stream. Welcome everyone coming in. If you are new here, click that subscribe button, the notification bell, and if you like what you see, make sure and click that like button. I'm going to show you really quick. We're going to be working on the 6 hearts that I have in this fun little book. This little booklet is available for purchase if you are not interested in doing the drawing, but you want to come back during the second video and do the painting. And it prints up, let's zoom out more. It prints on 11.5 by 8, 11 by 8. Can I get my numbers right today? Standard US letter paper, 8.5 by 11 inches. So when you buy the digital download from the link that's over in the chat, I didn't put the link down below in the more information box yet. I will. And it will be linked up above in the iCard after the show is over. But it's on my Teespring store, so if you click on my shop link down below, go to Teespring, you'll be able to get to it. And it's my Creative Hearts mini book. And it just folds up really easy. Now, when you do it on text weight paper, you're actually making a cute little coloring book that you can pop in an envelope and mail off to somebody. You don't have to do anything except fold the paper. If you take it and you print on watercolor paper, you make a little folio book. So the cover, and then you've got the 6 pieces that are printed on watercolor paper. So then you can watercolor them, or you can give it as a folio book, which is basically just a folder with cut sheets of paper in it. But we're going to draw these exact designs. Well, as exact as I can be, given that I'm drawing them fresh. And if you also stick around later, we will be watercoloring the designs. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Hello, everyone coming in. Welcome, welcome. So that's that. Now, if you want I have a template page that I made. My patrons, I went ahead and dropped this as my last post in Patreon, and you can just right click it, save it, down, print it, and then cut out the hearts, and you have a template that you can set down on top of your watercolor paper and trace around the inside of. Don't worry about making them perfect. My hearts did not get cut out perfectly, but what this does is mostly gives you a target on where to doodle so that you can get 6 up on one piece of watercolor paper that you've cut to. It'd be really good if I had lead stick out. There we go. So see, now I've got 4 hearts up on the page. I've already drawn on another page, right like that. I'm going to do all of my doodling pretty much, mostly, with pen. So that way you're going to be able to see it better. But I also will be using my pencil a little bit. So the materials that you need, if you just want to learn how to doodle these hearts and doodle the flowers, All you need is a pencil or a pen or both. Here, I need to lock my... Just a second, I'll tell you what size those hearts are. You need a pencil, a pen, an eraser, any paper that you want to use. I am drawing on 140-pound Arteza watercolor paper. This is the Arteza Expert watercolor paper. They're not sponsoring this video. I might be getting them to sponsor sometime, but right now they're not sponsoring the video. It's 140 pound. The paper was 9 by 12 and I cut it down to 8.5 by 11 just to make it easier. So it matched everything. And the hearts themselves are approximately 3 3/4 inches at its widest point and 3.5 from the point down in the middle to the point down here. And you can tell I drew these hearts hand drawn. I did not measure, because if I had measured and done it straight, the middle of the heart would be over here. What can I say? Things like that happen, but that's all part of the charm in having these be having them be hand-drawn, hand-doodled, step by step. We're going to doodle draw these fun hearts. So I'm going to put aside one of those. I am going to keep this paper out. I do need a piece of paper that I use just to keep my hands from rubbing the graphite. I'm not going to worry about taping them off. I will be taking a picture or a scan of these after I'm done drawing. But for now, I'm going to go and get my little booklet. We're going to start off with the first one in the book. And that's what I'm going to do, guys. So I'm going to try and replicate these fun things. I am not putting the grid flowers in until after we've got the bottom ones done. So what I want to do is I'm going to use my pencil really quick, and I am just going to put in kind of a halfway line with a pencil. All right, that just, sometimes you need targets. Don't draw these hearts. The outline, this is just a container to draw your flowers in. Don't draw the outline of the hearts with a heavy hand with your pencil or with the pen, unless that's a look that you want. But if you look here, I don't have any outline on these. It is just the impression, the indication by the shape of the way things laid out inside here. All right, so welcome. I am going to take me off the screen so we have a little more room. There we go. A little more room. I am going to hit the record on my phone. I want to record a couple of these doodles. And good morning, Harini. Welcome. And Kristen and Bikram. Where's Linda? I don't know. She might pop in. She's got she has little ones, family, and all those things going on. I'm going to go ahead and grab my pen, make sure that it is working. See, you can just scribble your pen off on a piece of paper. Make sure it's working before you start. Put my little cap there. I am looking at this going, we've got, this flower is the top flower. So the thing that you want to be on top when you're working with a pen is the first thing you do. So this flower is my main flower that I want. So it's the one with the many, many petals. And I'm starting off with a circle. And I need to zoom in a little more. Come on, zoom. Zoom in, move over, and focus. Ah, there, see? We'll get this. You know, it's the first one of the day, so kind of warming up with this one. Yeah, you know, sometimes when we're doodling and drawing, we get tied up in some of the details before we need to. We need to get the main focus flower on first. And I will sometimes do this. See, I've already drawn with pen. I'm going to make my next circle with a pencil because I want it to just be a guideline. And I'm going to draw little circles. Let's see. I want to show something. I'm starting on the line. I'm drawing my little circle out and I'm stopping on the line. Starting on the line, drawing the circle out and around and stopping on the line. What that does is it makes it so it's nice and clean. You don't have that little tail, that little spot where the lines join together. So if I'm just drawing a circle, sometimes it overlaps. It runs past. Sometimes you can get it really close, but there's still that little join spot. So if I start on a line, draw around, and stop on the line, you can't see where I joined it. And it makes the circle feel more finished. See, look at that. And even if your circles aren't the same size, they all sort of even out. So start on the line, go around, and stop on the line. And you can draw your circle to the right or to the left, whichever way makes you happy. I'm kind of joining these guys up, and I'm always looking ahead to try and keep that space about the same size at the end. So there. I've gone all the way around the center. Now I am going to go ahead and give myself a target for the second row of petals, and I don't want it to be that big. I want these petals to be a little bit narrow, shorter, shallower, shorter. So I'm going to give myself a target there, and I'll go ahead and give myself a circle right here. This is going to be for my outside petals. Now, you see, I'm using my pencil just to give myself targets, to give myself a place to aim for. And this time, we're going to go and make long, skinny U shapes. And if you feel more comfortable doing it, go and give yourself a few to have like north, south, east, and west. Then you can fill in. Sometimes it's easier to fill in a space and have them end up being closer to the same size. You see, I'm not filling them in with all the same number of petals either. It's whatever fills that space for me. So long, skinny U shapes. And on these, I did a full line down the center of them. This is very much like working a mandala, where you have your guidelines and you fill in going around, starting at the center and working your way out. Flowers are very much like mandalas, especially these ones that are like clocks, you know, petals that are very flat and stick out. And just stop on your line. Start on a line, stop on a line. And then we have our longer, skinnier petals. And on this one, my longer, skinnier petals are going to be not as long. And that's okay. I started over a little bit farther. Good morning, Miss Amy. And Kristen. And hey, welcome everyone. I just looked up. Hello, Jim. You've seen all of these guys in my chats in other videos? Yeah. We have a fun group of folks that like to come and chat. Oh, Bikram, hello, welcome. It's not quite as late at night this time for you. It's only about 10:15 p.m. or no, 10:45, something like that. Anyway, so I'm using the same shape, but this time it's a little bit skinnier, and I just realized that I didn't go and give myself my clock petals, so I'm going to go and do that. Helps me to keep my petals about the same size if I do that. So there we go, out and back. You notice I'm not too worried about where these petals are landing. Some of them are between those petals, those first ones, and some of them are on top of them. But I'm not overlapping any of these petals side by side. None of these are getting crossed over or under. But this way we end up with this beautiful stacked, double petaled type of flower. See, you guys can do this. Simple shapes, simple shapes. We're not, this is just a long, kind of like a finger. See, just a long petal shape. And one last one. Boom, right there. Now, I do have some leaves that are coming out from underneath of this one. I'm going to go ahead and draw. It's a going out and coming back. So just like our rounded petal, but with a point on the end. So go out and come back. And because it's underneath of all of those other petals, you don't have to draw the back end of it. See? It's underneath, so we don't have to draw all of it. I'm going to draw the line meeting up, and then a few of these little vein lines. Now, only put the amount of detail in that you want. I did mine as, color book style. So I put in enough detail that if somebody just wanted to color it with colored pencil, they'll be able to. And there's a kind of a wobbly leaf. And I'm just going to kind of fit one in. See, by having my heart shape around the outside here, it's going to kind of help me keep my edges a little bit cleaner and together. Now, you can go beyond that heart. You can move some of those petals out around the edges. I need to turn off the autofocus. Whoops. Autofocus, stay on, and now go off. There we go. So I want another leaf. I'm going to bring this leaf right here down a little bit. I'm going to bring it outside the heart just a little bit. But you notice it's still in that heart shape. It's still following it around. I like that when we're doodling like this, we're drawing pattern flowers, we end up with designs that are different every time. I'm going to move down here to this next flower in the point, and I'm going to go ahead and put my center. I'm going to try and keep my petals a little bit smaller. So right now I've got my center circle, my ring around that center circle. I'm going to go ahead and put small petals around. This is the same kind of petals that we've been doing, a letter U or a letter N. And then we have these bigger petals, and truthfully, the petal is just shaped like that. And then we'll go back in and put a little V scoop on it. And it makes it look like the petal is curled up on it, doesn't it? But just draw your loop first. So we're going to go and draw, and I'm tucking it in behind. So what I'm doing is I'm stopping wherever there's a pen line, I stop and I pick up my pen. So little U shape, but because there's the flower there, I'm stopping and picking up my pen. This one, I'm going to bring it like that. And this one, out and back. So right now it doesn't look as detailed, does it? And I only made 4 petals on this one. I can tuck another one in right there. So now what I've got is a long skinny V, or pointed, you know, it's that pointed scoop, little pointed scoop. So start on an edge, go up and come back to your edge. That is one of the quickest ways to give you a scooped up petal. Look at that detail that you get so quickly. All right. Hey, Val, welcome. Wow, it's great to see all my Patreon people coming in and all of my regular viewers here on YouTube. If you're new here, make sure that you click that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, and all the good stuff. Now, I'm going to go in and put 3 little lines. These can be wrinkle lines in the petal. These could be stamens sticking out. 1, 2, 3. And a little dot at the top. I think that these are actually little wrinkle lines and details. So we've got that second flower done. Third flower is a 4-petaled flower. It's like this right here. It would be kind of like a, what do we want to say? Could be like a hydrangea flower. Putting my circle down. I'm going to put the other circle down because I just realized that I needed to do this one first. You know how I realized that I need to do that one first, right? The one that's on top is the one you do first. So just ignore the other ones and draw the first one. So I'm ignoring that dot right there. It will work out. I'm going to put a petal out and back. A petal out and back. You can do this. This is something that is very meditative. You can really just settle in and have fun with this. This has got curved lines on the petals. Those are little detail lines. They can give you indication of where shadow is going to be or where, color variations are going to be. So I have that one. So what's next? You look at these. Which is the next petal? The next petal is this one, or flower, is this one right here. It is under the very first flower we did. It is under the third flower we did, this one, but it's over the top of this one, that third one right there in that cluster. So this is our next petal, or our next flower. I keep calling it a petal. It's a flower. And if you wanted to, you can make those petals a little bit heart-shaped. That is up to you. So this is where it goes under, stops at that one, comes around, and comes out. So how is everybody doing? Are you enjoying this show? Is this working out for you here? All right, Gina, we'll be watching for you. In and out. Have fun. And that's the thing with the marathon, guys. Go in and out as you need to. I do have an intermission if I need it. I shouldn't. I'm hoping that we can get all of the flowers done, the hearts all drawn in about 2.5 to 3 hours max. This is a marathon, so marathon means it's going to take a little bit of time, right? So now that's underneath. Again, I said I'm not going to be able to do it like a copy machine. I'm not going to make it a perfect representation, but it's going to be close. It's going to be close. So my first leaf in this set is going to be right here. And I'm only putting the veins on one side just to add some variation. I am starting at a line and stopping at a line, so it's nice and consistent. See, I want to... Oh, that's good. So there we go. And now I'm going to give it that second leaf to fill in that gap. Why does that feel out of focus? Are you enjoying them, Julie? Welcome. Welcome, Shelley. Nice to see you. Yeah, so this stream, we're mostly going to be just, people can chat about what they want to chat about, but if you're asking me any questions, make sure the questions are something about the artwork. If I start, going off on something, that's me going off on something. But please don't try and purposefully, Miss Amy, drag me off into another world. And then I just made that petal. Look, I went outside the line for the heart, and that's okay. Make sure your lines match up though. And my recommendation is after you're done drawing all of the hearts on your page, make sure and take a photograph, or if you have a scanner, scan it, or if you have a scanner printer, scan it and print it. Save the file so that you can go back and try different colorways when you're doing your painting. Before you cut them apart and make them into little cards. It's easier to paint on them if they're cut apart, but don't fuss too much about it. I am not going to put the leaf down there. Look at that. I need to go ahead and take these pencil lines out so you can see a little bit more. I'm only taking the ones out in the bottom half. Just so you can see how pretty that is. That's really nice. I do want my little grid up here. And the way I did the grid is I just did a narrow kind of gingham grid, just a square grid. And I do that with the pencil. And I'm not measuring. I'm using my eyeballs. So if things are not perfect, it's okay. And you can just draw right across everything. I think there's a little bit of it that you see there and a little bit that you see there. All right. So that looks like lined note paper. You could, oh my gosh, that would be so cute to do if you did something like with the hearts like that, and then you did the little bar that came down and then maybe one circle. It would look like lined note paper. Oh, wouldn't that be adorable? But we're not doing that. We're going to make it the same as the one in the booklet here, because that's what I promised. So now I'm going to do the grid going the opposite direction. They are not perfectly spaced. That adds to the charm. See, I'm working on training you guys to understand that not perfectly spaced just adds charm. It adds personality. There we go. It adds personality. And now, what I'm going to do, so just so that you know what I'm doing. See, there's our grid. I'm going to go in and at that point right there, at the junction, I am doing my little teardrop shapes, or the shape of a piece of rice. It's just that small petal. It's just a small petal, and they don't have to be perfect. You're going to go to a junction, you're going to skip a junction and go to a junction. So I would be skipping that junction and moving over, but I'll go down this way. So I'll skip that one. That gives us room for these little petals to live. And it also gives it the feeling that it's on a grid. So what I'm going to do, I might, let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to start right here at the top, and I'm going to do my petals. And if it runs off the edge of the heart, I'm just going to close it off or put it in a little bit small. So I did one. I'm skipping a line. And I've done my next one. I'm skipping a line. It would be on this one. I'm going to say that this one, let's see. I'm going to come back over here and do this. We'll work out in just a minute. I want to see. I might be going back in and filling in. I think that's what I guess maybe that's what I did. Maybe that is what I did. Don't skip any lines. That's, you know, that's one of our... Oh yeah, you have to. Oh well. If I don't skip any lines, that's going to be awfully close. Oh well, you know what? Sometimes... Make sure and skip a line, guys. Unless you work really small with your little flowers. I'm going to be here for a minute. If you do something once, it can look like a mistake. If you do something more than once, it becomes part of the pattern. So, just because I second guessed myself, don't second guess yourself. Just listen to what your heart's telling you on that. Listen to what your eyeballs are saying. See, I'm just going in and I'm going to be here for a minute doing this. Dagnabbit. It's going to look pretty. It's just going to be a little bit more full. These ones down here are behind the flowers. You notice I have worked my petals. I'm starting to work my petals smaller so that I can make them all fit. And there we go. We're going to be here for a minute on this one now. Like I said, dagnabbit. But that's okay. This is actually a good warm-up. And this is the way you practice. You can practice learning how to make these shapes over, you know, it's boring to just sit there and make a page of little rice shapes. But this, you're going to end up with something when you're finished. And it's going to be really cool. So, don't knock it, right? And if you end up in an area where your petals go off the edge. You can just decide not to do them. Instead of doing partial petals, half petal or whatever, you can just skip it. Like right here, I could just skip the ones that are kind of there, or I can say, I know that there's a full petal there and there's a part of a petal there, part of a petal here. So then it really looks like the flower is in front of it. Oh my goodness. One of the cool things one of the cool things is that we are, this is an international audience, and sometimes the cultural differences and things like that, the way we interact with each other can be seen as a little bit sharp or a little bit not kind, and it's not meant in that way. So please be very patient with each other, as we are all here to have fun. And many times we are watching a live stream. We might come in and say hello, and then, we're sitting there and doing our artwork. We're doing the artwork along with the person who's teaching the class. And we might not see all of the chat. I don't see all the chat. I've got Mark kind of watching the chat for me so that he can, if there's a question directly to me, I can, and I don't see it, I can answer. But many times our friends that are in here are drawing and not looking at the chat, and somebody's question directly to them might get missed, and it has no reflection on the person that's asking the question or on the person who is not answering, because you know what? If you don't see a question, you can't answer it. So we need to just be kind, and we can ask a question again. If we see the person back in chat, then ask them the question. Don't worry. Nobody is being mean or ignoring anyone here. So there we go. I am almost done inking this little guy in. All right. Look at that. So we are going to erase all of the pen lines around here now. Or pencil lines, I'm sorry. Pencil lines. Erase the pencil lines. And we have just done flower number 1. Flower heart number 1. Look at that. Didn't do too bad. Didn't do too bad. I'm going to zoom out so we can see it a little bit wider. Today is Saturday. Yeah, you know what? Sometimes it's hard to remember what day it is. Yeah, look at that, guys. We didn't do too bad. So this one was just drawn, and this is the printout from the book. There we go. Ah, thank you so much, Deanie. Bonnie, yeah, sometimes doing grid work can be a little bit hard. What you can do, though, is you can find a grid that you can just lay over a piece of artwork. So if you can get it printed onto the clear transparency film, if you have a piece of transparency film that can run through an inkjet printer, go ahead, run it through the inkjet printer and print a grid. So then he doesn't have to redraw the grid. And if you do it same size on the paper, then you can get it transferred more easily. This is good. All right, next one. I am going to hit stop and start on my phone. So I'm going to record the next one. Woohoo! And I'm going to hit stop and start on my computer just for the recording part. There we are. So next one up is going to be this one. And I will be able to just set it down on here. I've got my piece of paper. We already have our hearts drawn. If you are interested in the booklet to have as a reference, or to make little coloring books to give to friends, and you don't want to draw all of the images, you can, in the chat, there is a link pinned at the top for my Teespring shop. It is the Creative Heart Mini booklet. And if you just go to teespring.com and you look for Stephanie Bergeron, you should find my artwork, or Deliberately Creative, either one. So I'm going to just set that aside, pull that out, and we're going to look at this one. What are we looking at? Hello, Miss Catherine. KM Crafts is also one of my moderators, and she is my niece. So welcome, welcome, my dear. All right. So we are going to look at this and go, what flower is on the top? The really big one right here is on the top. And now I can draw that circle with my pen. I can just freehand my circle in. I could use a template and find the size of a circle that I want to use for my center. I could find a container that I want for the size of the center of that flower. So give yourself, options to succeed. If you don't feel comfortable drawing a freehand circle, you can also draw it with a pencil. So I can go like this. I can start drawing, and get kind of a circular shape here. I think that might be a little bit big. I'll erase it, move over, and say I want my petal or my flower center right about here. All right. And then I'm going to just draw around the circle. Choose the part of the line that makes you feel the most circular happy, and draw your circle. This one has 5 petals, and they are long, stretched out, either N or U. See? So now I need to draw it again, but that kind of warmed up my hand. So I'm looking at that going, all right, I've got a long and stretched out petal here. 1, 2. If it makes you feel more comfortable, you can go and give yourself little marks. Make little marks around the outside edge of your circle so you know where your petals are going to start and stop. I like the free form. I like the free form. This one has a circle around the inside. So I'm just going to, after I did my outside circle, then that's when I did my inside circle on this one. Because then I knew my flower was the right size. Linda is making cookies. I love it. All right, so I made some little, I'm saying these are like little stamens sticking out of the center. And I put 3 on, and then I went ahead and put a little heart shape on the ends of those. 3 little lines. little heart shape. And look at that, I'm starting at the line, I'm making my little heart shape and coming back to the line. That way, it makes it feel more finished. It might not be perfect. These are in the middle of a flower. They don't have to be perfect hearts. We are just having a fun time doodling, drawing little patterns, and making heart flowers of hearts. How about hearts of flowers? There we go. Hearts of flowers that can be used for all kinds of cards. And the cool thing is you can go off and do your own designs. I'm teaching you a set of designs. You can go off and do all the designs, any that you want. So I'm going to put a leaf, and you see what I did? I'm going almost out to that edge. I'm going to fill in a leaf right there. I did that before I did my flower behind there. Oh well, I wasn't looking ahead. The flower is on top of those leaves. Not a problem. We are just going to put the flower behind the leaves. So first off, I did 2 sort of stacked letter C's. I'm going to say there's a petal that's disappearing off behind that leaf. There's a petal that's coming out. A petal that's going out. And a petal that's disappearing behind the flower. That works. And then we've got cute little V that's coming from the center and going outwards in the petal. And that's like those little petal creases. This one, I showed veins on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and get those drawn on. This, really, you're making your own coloring pages when you do this. So if you draw these, please share them with me. I will be posting a video on Tangy later today with, I believe it's this one that we're drawing right now. And you can actually post your artwork on Tangy, on my video, on the Try It button. So Tangy is a short form video platform, and anybody can be a creator on there. All you want to do is create a video, and it needs to be 1 minute or less when you're starting out. As you get more followers on Tangy, you can actually do up to 2 minutes. Although, even though I've got enough followers to do more than the 1 minute, I try to keep my videos about 1 minute. And they are speed videos on Tangy. So, let's see. I am actually going to put, now the next flower I'm going to do right here, I'm sort of working my way around and down. The next flower I'm going to do right here is just stacked up circles. So I'm doing a little circle in the center, another circle around that, and then my last circle is actually going to get tucked in around. See, and I'm not actually paying that close of attention, am I? Because there was another leaf on the inside bit. It's going to the outside. It's okay. Circle. Circle. Circles make really great flowers. See, look at that. Fun, fun flowers. Just stack up those circles. Make a leaf. I'm going to come back over here and get this one in before I get too carried away. So this one here, this big one, the second big one, I'm going to put a big circle on the inside of the circle. You're drawing with me and watching on the phone. Oh my goodness, Bonnie. That's awesome. Yeah, Mark is my husband. So MWB Arts Creative Journey is my husband, Mark. So I'm going to do, these petals are a little bit squared off. And it's however many petals I can fit around. Let's see, what did I get on this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I fit 6 on that time. Let's see what we do. Yep, we're going to get 6 again. Six petals. I didn't even put any little crease lines or anything in that one, did I? So now we're going to come down. We're going to put this next flower right here. This one is a 5-petal flower with a nice center in it. If your center ends up being a little squishy, don't worry about it. This one I'm doing like a letter C and then some dots. And another little letter C and then some dots. That's for in the center. And then petal. If you wanted to, you can go through and just do all of your flowers first and then go and do the leaves. I'm kind of trying to work this out. I'm doing 3 of the little crease lines. I'm trying to, work it out as I'm going along and get it as completed as possible. As you are doing them, you warm up and you start seeing things in a, you start seeing in advance what you want to do next. So like I'm going to move over here and get this flower put in. It is another little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petal. It's going to have some stacked up petals, meaning I'm doing the main petal and then I'm going back in and putting a petal on the inside of each petal, stacking them on top of each other. And then I'm putting a little line with a dot on each of those inside little petals. I see another flower that starts out very similar to these circle flowers, but then it has little rounded petals on it, and it's tucking in underneath. It's just peeking out. And as you're looking at it, now this area here, I can go in and start adding some leaves to sort of fill in space. All right. I think that this one is going to end up getting an extra leaf. And the reason why is because it makes it fill in that heart. There's a couple leaves sticking up this way, coming off the flowers. There's one there. There's a leaf here. Oh, we've got another little flower tucked in right there. So just tuck them in. And that's the other thing. You can just start tucking your little flowers in to those empty spaces. It makes it feel more full. It makes it feel more like a beautiful bouquet. Another leaf. Now, this one is not going to be exactly perfect to the first one, is it? there's some wider spacing. There's some gapping that's a little bit different. I see that I have a flower that's tucked in right here. Well, Kristen, I hope that new jobs come as quickly as you hope they will. Sometimes things happen and we really don't understand why they are happening. Losing a job is always stressful. I am going to put another flower in this one. I'm going off the rails now, guys. I'm going rogue. I just added an extra flower. It's like, she's going rogue, guys. Okay, so now we're on this one. It's a little 6-petal flower, or however many petals I make it. It's hidden behind, so it's these long petal shapes. Sometimes I square them off a little bit, and sometimes I round them more. I like when they are tucking in underneath, though. And sometimes I make them bigger than they were originally. It's okay. I am going to have 3 flowers here, so no worries, Darcy. This is a little marathon. We're going to be just having fun. This is number 2. So it's actually, coming along in just about the right timing. Just about the right timing here. Get another petal, get another flower. Work it underneath. Remember, when you hit a line, you just pick up your pen and then come back. So this one's going to get single dot, line dot, line dot, line dot. I like these little lines and dots. I like these little V's. There we go. So doodling in flowers, it is one of those things that just makes me feel so happy. I am not going to do the little one that looks like an ear of corn. Not going to make that leaf. That leaf just sort of happened. I don't know why. It just sort of happened. I'm going to put another leaf right here. And look at that. I have kind of pushed up higher into the flower. I think that, or into the heart. So my swirls are not going to end up being as swirly. It's like an S, but I like to start with it down below and grow out. So I'm going to say that this one, I'm putting like 2 little leaves at the end of a line to start off with. I'm going to say that this one is going to go up. And then there's going to be one that's going to come down and around. Just like that. Oh my goodness gracious. Definitely start an art business. Yeah. I love the art businesses. I'm just going to go and start putting some little leaves on. Well, I quit my job, or kind of retired, I guess, because I'd done it for so long. But stopped working for the school district and went full-time doing my art, and have been really happy. It's kind of stressful though. So you have to be willing to deal with some stress. You have to be willing to deal with some longer hours. You might work more doing an art business than you did when you were working for somebody else, because you're the one wearing all the hats when you do that. When you do this, you're the one wearing all the hats. So let's see. I think I'm going to have this one curl up. See, it changes a little bit, but that's okay. Now I'm looking at this going, I want another leaf here. Because I already changed it up some, I'm going to look at it and say, where do I need another leaf? I need another leaf right here on this outside edge. And then I have these little dots. I'm going to put a few little dots, little sets of 3 dots. And if they go outside the edge of the heart a little bit, that's okay. 3 dots. These would be kind of like little flowers or something, or just filler. You can just put little dots in as fillers. And these work really nice if you've got a metallic pen to go and give it just a little bit of something. I think I want to maybe put a few little lines on a couple of these leaves. There we go. That one, I'm going to put some lines. Start on a line, stop on a line. I have to say that to myself sometimes, because otherwise things like, where I actually start inside the line happen. I'm going to go ahead and make a couple leaves that are a little bit longer. Just like that. All right, let's erase the pencil lines, that outline. It's amazing what just taking that tiny little pencil guide off will do. So now, that's what we did. This one's a little bit more full. I like it. I actually like the one that we did today better than the one I did in the book, though the one in the book is really nice. So I will be painting these at 12:30 as part of the marathon. Correct. Thank you, Mark. Oh, that's a pen line. All right, let's zoom out and see what our first 2 look like. That's the first 2 are done. I am going to hit stop. Okay. And hit start again. Oh, yep. The Sherpa's on now. Hey guys, check out all of the artists. So if you want to go and watch Sherpa, and then come back. I'll probably be here still. This is a marathon. Or have 2 devices and have both of us up at the same time. We have actually been known to do that here. When we had multiple people on at once that we liked to watch. I'm going to move that one over. And we're going to open the book. Next one up. Ooh, looks like we've got another opportunity for a swirl, but it's a little bit different. It would, be like a little wirework swirl kind of thing. All right. I'm going to take a little slurp of my coffee. And thank you guys so much for being here. If you're interested in, I do have the booklet with all of the designs that you can, that we're drawing in this one. See, here's the one we're getting ready to draw right now. We've already done that one. And this one. So see, you'll be able to draw them yourself if you want to, or you can buy the downloadable instant download from Teespring. And the link is up above in the more information. The link is over in the chat right now, pinned at the top. It will be down below in the more information, and it will be up in the iCard. And then we will come back and start painting these. So there. We're going to be heading towards this. Might not be painted exactly the same way as I did on my sample. We might brighten the colors up, keep them lighter. But I like this sort of loose watercolor effect, and that's what we're going to be going for. But now we're going to start on number 3. Oh, yeah. You know what? It's just like the, just like network television, except that, you know, because networks don't talk to each other so much. You know, Cinnamon and I do. I started this at 9 o'clock. She's doing her thing at 10. She'll be done at, you know, 10 to noonish. Angela Anderson will be starting after that. We all end up overlapping each other, and some of us do have favorite creators, and just know that being at the chat is very helpful to the morale, and it's a lot of fun, but it is not absolutely necessary for you to be here during the live stream. You can come back. You can start a live stream, watch for 10-15 minutes or whatever, move on to somebody else's live stream, come back to the first one. It's okay, and it doesn't hurt any of our feelings. I am looking at this. I'm going to get this big heart, or this big flower in first. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pencil my circle, and the reason why is because this one, the circle was actually drawn by drawing all those little tiny circles. It's like a string of beads going around in the circle. But just like I did before with my petals, I am going to give myself a few little targets. So I'm doing sort of 12, 6, 3, and 9. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And then I'm just going to fill in my little circles between those markers. It's easier to keep them a bit more consistent and to eyeball your spacing. See, that one I had to reach a little bit. Not perfect, but it's close. You're in the middle of a snowstorm, Jan. Oh my goodness gracious. You be careful, be safe, be warm, cuddle up with a blanket, and pray that the Wi-Fi stays on, right? Yeah, we have not had a very wintry winter yet. It's a bit on the warmer side so far. We've been wet, but we haven't really had hard freezes. We've had a few cold days. So I'm just filling in these little circles going round and round. And because I'm talking, sometimes my spacing is not as perfect, but it's okay. Now I'm looking at it going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 petals. All right, so it's the sort of long and narrow, like a flattened letter C, sort of like that, or a crazy looking letter N, And Jan, you are so welcome. I am so glad that you were one of the winners. I had a secret giveaway. You had to have watched the Crazy Quilt video, and you had to be paying attention to the Crazy Quilt video, because in the Crazy Quilt video, I mentioned that I was giving away copies of the book. So copies of the little booklet were given away on the Crazy Quilt video. And because I only had 9 people that actually caught on to it, I gave a book to all of the people who had made comments on that video. Now that is closed, and pretty much everybody has received their book. One person received it. They'd already purchased the book, and so they said that I could give away their copy. So I have to figure out how to give away their copy. Actually, she told me to give it to somebody who is there all the time, coming in and hanging out with us. That's hard. That is hard to do it that way, but I will figure it out. Now I'm going to do one of these little roses, and this rose, I started with a circle. I'm going to put a little partial circle or half circle around it. I'm going to join in here, come out wide, and I'm spiraling out and then coming back in. And now I'm just going to stack a few petals around it. See, I am growing outside of my heart. I'm overlapping my petals. Just like laying bricks. Then I'm going to come in here and give it a leaf. And another leaf. See how I'm making it fit into the shape of the heart? We've got another leaf out this side right here. Another leaf. Look at that. So this is not going to be a perfect representation, just as I am not a copy machine. There will be variations. There will be some lines that overshoot. One of the things with the booklet is that my lines are pretty much perfect because I took it into an editing program after I drew them, and I cleaned up all of my little wobbles and boo-boos, or cleaned up most of them. I did not clean up all because I still want it to look like it's a hand-drawn piece, you know? So right here, we're coming down. I've got one of those circle flowers, 3 circles stacked on top of each other. Boom. Another one over to the side. 3 circles stacked up. These are great for filling in space. There's a leaf. And there's another leaf going off the other way. I hope I'm keeping my hand out of the way enough so that you feel like you can see everything. Please let me know. You love watching me draw these? You love the little wiggles and curves and they draw the eyes in? Yeah, it's fun to do that. Hello, Devontic. Welcome. I love that little heart dude radiating good vibes. Bye, Johannes. Have a lovely day. Enjoy whatever you are doing. So I am going to be coming back live today. And I am, oh, and I do need to let you guys know, I am going to be modifying, or actually I've already done it. I'm modifying my live schedule for the rest of the month. I have come to the realization that daily live streams, 7 days a week, is too much. It's too much for me, and it seems to be a bit much for the community also. I have noticed that I lose quite a few subscribers when I do multiple live streams in a day that are separated by several hours. I'm hoping that this one for the marathon is going to be okay. I'm just drawing another rose in, which is that swirl in the middle and then overlapping. Overlapping the petals. As you work your way out, your petals get bigger, your spacing gets wider. Look at that. I just made that one way bigger. And then the leaves. So I am going to be going live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. The later in the day ones, although it's great for my friends in Australia, I don't have a big enough audience there. And the videos don't seem to get the same views as they do if I go early in the day. So the 11 a.m. seems to be the one that people really like. So we're going to stick with that. I'm going to come over here and do another circle, circle, circle type flower. Oh, look at that. See, I hit the edge here. I just moved the outer ring. I pushed it to the inside of that heart. And remember, these hearts, if you go on my deliberately-creative.com, you can get this heart template. It is a free download. It's actually just a right click and save the image and then print it. And it even has your instructions. Print the template on cardstock, use a craft knife, cut out your hearts, and you're just making yourself a template so that you can get 4 hearts up on one page, evenly spaced. You know, it's one of those things. There's always an ebb and a flow to a YouTube channel. Right now, the flow just happened. I think that maybe we are turning the corner on that, and we're going to start getting long-term subscribers that want to be here for the drawing and the doodling and the painting of watercolor and acrylic and gouache, because that's really what I want my focus on my channel to be about. Mostly it's about creativity. It's about getting your creative juices flowing, and sometimes seeing somebody else doing something creative sparks the juices in you. I am going to put another circle in that one. Look at that. You can stack your circles. I'm just looking at it going, I want to stack up those circles on the inside. I'm going rogue again. This would be kind of like maybe like the ranunculus. Many, 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 many petals all stacked up together. Look at that. We're going to do a leaf. And then we're going to do another leaf. This one here has lots of leaves. I like that. And now, before I get too far, I don't want to go too far. I want to make sure that I have room to put this pretty swirl in. So this swirl, I'm going to have it go up along the edge of the heart, come down and swirl back. And I'm going to use the edge of the heart for the thickness. And I'm drawing all the lines with the pencil, and then I will come back and choose the lines I want with the pen. So that way I can go like this, and I can draw all the lines, and I don't have to worry about those places where they join up because I can erase. And I can adjust the thickness of my lines and see what I want. You have the, see, and I moved that way too far over. There we go. Sometimes when you can't sleep, you rewatch your favorite videos. That's so kind of you. I'm so happy that my videos can bring you some peace and some calm. You know, I want to, that's why doing it in pencil, you can erase and say, you know what, I want that one to be a little bit shallower. There it is. Because I needed more room. See? Sometimes you do things shallower so that you can have a little more room. I'm going to move that one up. This is doodling. Doodling is drawing without a complete preconceived path. Now, because I'm trying to sort of copy my original art, this isn't as much doodling, but I am going rogue here. I am going off on other paths and exploring other ideas also. So I'm looking at that going, now I know that I want a circle flower right here. Get that like that. I'm going to put a leaf right here and right there, and another one right here. So just enjoy the process. That's the thing. So I'm choosing a line. I'm just choosing a line. I'm choosing a line and I'm following that line and I'm going around, and then I'm going to come back. And now I ran into another pencil line that I want to emphasize, so I'm going to go off on that path, go around and come back, and now I'm going back into my original path up to there, because that's another place where I've got another pencil line that I want to follow. So I'm going to go out and around, follow my path, and then I'm going to come down and join it in. So now this is kind of a hard stock, isn't it? I think that my little circles that I'm going to do here, making them a little bit bigger. They're going to be kind of more like flowers on the edge, I think. Like that. Bobette Rose. Ah. Yeah, I love your mom. I love her idea there. I have been told that people like to listen to my shows, kind of like they like to listen to Bob. Yes. that they feel calm and a little more relaxed. I don't claim to be a Bob Ross. I don't, I aspire to be someone that can leave that kind of a mark on the world of kindness and gentleness. That is an aspiration. But it's not always that way. Yeah, you can paint with them. You can paint with tubes of paint. You can paint with you can paint with anything. I'm going to put one more rose right here. There are people that paint with coffee and tea. I don't know. For me, I like the predictability of gouache, and watercolor is becoming more predictable for me. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. I'm just going to put some little like highlight lines or something on those circles. Makes it feel more like they're little pearls going around that stem. If you're interested in doodle gems, I have about 75 doodle gem videos here on my channel where I do this type of a thing. I do a lot of this doodling and then just having a fun time with it, actually. Doodling and then watercolor. All right. So I'm going to go in and erase the pencil lines. Ooh, I'm looking at that going, I think there's a couple spots here where I'm just going to put some little circle dots. These little circle dots are a great place to put metallic colors, gold or silver, have them popping up. Just as a surprise, a little surprise here and there. I like little surprises. So I am going to go ahead and just erase all those pencil lines. And that's why we don't put the outside circle in with the pen, because then you end up with that lovely, let's put this one side by side. Now, they are different. They are not the same. I'm finding that I'm enjoying the process of filling it in even more. I think looking at that, this one over here needs to have more of those circles, or this one up here. I think this one up here. I want 3 of those. 3 of those. Look at that. We've got 3 of these. We've got 3 roses. We've got 1 of that big one. There's only 2 of these little guys, but this circled one right back here could be another one of those. Look at that. Number 3 is done. We're rocking through this, guys. We are rocking through. So, what did we do? We did that one, that one. So we're heading into this one. And this one's real pretty because it's got this sort of mass of flowers, kind of like, sort of like the, I'm not sure what kind of flowers. Forget-me-nots. It's like forget-me-nots, which work really well for, forget-me-nots work really well for a Valentine or for a love, right? So there we go. Your book comes tomorrow, so does mine. Actually, I bought 3 copies of my new book. The book that Lorianne is talking about is here. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom out. We're on number 4 now. We can zoom out, right? Let's zoom out and see how we're looking here. We almost have 1 full sheet of Valentine hearts. Ah! But the book that Lorianne is talking about is my 30 Cozy Creative Hand-Drawn Designs. I have a copy of it now available on Amazon. So it's the 30 Cozy Creative Hand-Drawn Designs, but it's a coloring for positivity and mindfulness, but it's exactly this book. And you can use those pages as references to draw your own artwork, or you can color the pages directly. This happens to be the downloadable version that you can get from Teespring. So if you're going over to Teespring to find this book for the Mini Hearts booklet, this one is available also for download. And I am number 15, I think. Number 15, which is the day before the slippers. So Monday is going to be the jade plant. That's going to be so pretty. It was originally scheduled for Sunday, but I am taking Sunday off. I need to start focusing more on my self-care. And that's part of going and doing just the Monday through Friday live streams, I think, for the time being. So there we go. And Jan, her book is coming also. And the Winter Ornaments book. Yeah, so the Winter Ornaments book that Jan just talked about was this one. And this is the actual, what it looks like when it's printed by the Amazon printer and then shipped. So it's got this nice straight edges. The book is this soft, velvety feeling matte cover. It's not glossy. So it's really nice. And that's what this book is going to be. And see, even your homemade book of it can be the same size. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I am going to go ahead and zoom back in. So we can get heart number 4. Floral heart doodle number 4. Doodle draw extravaganza. And set that there. Get some of these things out of the way. Find my pen. Where did I? Oh, pen is in my lap. So I am drawing mostly directly with the pen. I am looking at this going, this flower right here is my biggest one. I'm going to put it in first. And it is that stack circle again. So it's a circle. Try and get your ends to match up, but they don't have to be perfect. This is a hand-drawn Valentine. And this one has like 7, 8, actually it's stacked up petals also. So we're going to go out sort of long and sort of squared off on the edges. This one has overlapping petals in the back. Well, sometimes you see that little gap right there? Now that I said it's a gap, it doesn't look like I overlapped funny, does it? It looks like it's an actual gap. Then I can go and make my little overlapping petals in the background, which is just putting those N shapes or C shapes Yeah, one of the things, if you want to try gouache, just get a tube of white and use your watercolors. So add a little bit of white gouache to your watercolor, and you will have gouache. going like that, just sort of fitting in a leaf. And I want a leaf kind of coming up like this. All right. As we've said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I think actually what I had done, I had gone and put all of those little tiny flowers in first, but I wanted to get the big ones in this time. And you see where I've got that sort of little overlapping section right there? I'm going to start at that point and make my little petal creases, and then it sort of disguises it. Your eye doesn't see it so much. There we go. So it looks like what I did, I've got a circle there. I went and put a bunch of circles down. And then I made the flowers fit around the circles. So just go and throw a bunch of circles down. They don't have to be on a pattern. You're going to automatically want to put them in like a pattern. That's just what our eyes do. Our hand and eye, our brains, they like patterns. And we want order. It is just the way it is. So I'm just putting in some little, these are going to be the centers, but I'm not sure how the flowers are going to work out. So there we go. Been doing dot mandalas for a long time. Taylor loves to do them. I gave her my older set of tools. Jan, that is a lovely thing to do for your granddaughter. Chinese white is sometimes problematic. Sometimes Chinese white in your set of watercolors is actually white gouache. And sometimes Chinese white in your watercolors is more of a mixing white. It's more for mixing into your colors to make them a little bit opaque, but it doesn't quite make them into gouache. They're always still a little bit light and a little bit wimpy. The white that would come in your watercolor set. So these are just those same flowers that you have made your entire life. You learned how to do those flowers in kindergarten, right? Or maybe even before that. But when you add that second little line, that little line on the inside of them, it takes it from being a kindergarten flower to a little bit more sophisticated. A little bit. I'm going to draw in a few of these flowers, then I'm going to put some leaves in, and then I'm going to tuck some more flowers around underneath of edges. Some of these flowers, maybe I'll make this one a little bit bigger, so that way it will force some of the flowers and leaves to go underneath of the petals. There. I like it when they start overlapping. There we go. See? Get that one to overlap. We're going to get this one to overlap. Make them bigger, make them smaller. Don't make all of them the same size. By giving yourself that opportunity to sprinkle your flowers. These are your forget-me-nots. Or that's what I'm calling them. I'm calling them forget-me-nots because, you know, they're filling up this lovely floral heart. We're doodling these flowers in. We're getting all that good, the good endorphins and things like that are releasing in our brains as we are creating these patterns, repeating lines. Your brain goes into a really cool place They call it the flow, where your brain just knows what needs to come next and moves your hand, and you don't even have to think about it because you're just in the flow. It's harder for me right now to really get into that flow just because I keep talking. But I'm hoping that you are able to get into that lovely, lovely place. Fill your page with flowers. Fill your heart with flowers. Flowers are joyful. And no matter what's going on in our lives, all of the crazy that's going on in the world, we still have the choice to choose how we interact with that information, to choose how we interact with the people around us, and to find those moments of joy, or create a moment of joy. Choose that moment to be joyful, because no one can make you happy. No one can make you sad. You choose to react. Sometimes it feels like others are the ones in control, but they're not the ones inside your head. And you have the control. Now, this is self-talk. This is that healthy self-talk that I try to do to myself, because you know what? It's hard to believe that. It's hard to believe that, when bad things happen, I can choose to be glad about something that makes it less sad. But you can choose to be glad about something that makes a situation less sad. And that really I think those Zen masters that are out there, the monks, the priests, holy people that have found that peace, that ability to separate what's going on from what they're feeling, I think are amazing. And I'm definitely not there. But I aspire. And so that's why I focus on trying to find the happy things, find those moments, tell myself I'm doing a good job. Because the things you tell yourself are the things you believe. The things that others tell you, unfortunately, are things we believe also. So we need to think about those things that we want to believe about ourselves. We are kind. We are caring. We're positive. We're here to share joy and positivity and light and love. And that's why we're here doing these hearts and making these pretty little flowers. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Now I'm going to go in and put some leaves, so then I can add a few more little flowers tucked in. Let's see. I think I'm going to put a little leaf coming up and a little leaf going that way. Just add your little flower leaves wherever they work. Hashtag positivity, love, light, and joy. Absolutely. Jan, that is, I think that should be something that we all aspire to. Positivity, love, light, and joy. you try to find something outrageous to laugh at every day. I love that. Your mom says you're weird, Mom. Your response? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I like it. That's a great response. So now I'm just throwing these cute little leaves in. But this is definitely one of those patterns. It's very organic. You can drop it wherever you want to fill in sections. This little flower, the little forget-me-not. I don't know if this, I'm sure that somebody has named this, but these are flowers that I've been making since I was a wee little girl. So I'm calling it forget-me-nots. Oh, there's another one that has the dot, but no petals. There we go. See, you can just start filling them in, start creating leaves. I am going to leave some space up above for just dots and having them come down and fill in around. I think I want to put another flower so it's going underneath of the petals of the big one. Look at that. Just toss it in there. You can just throw some little circles in here and there if you don't want to have it look like it's a partial petal. You can just go like that. You can just drop a circle. And your brain will fill it in as extra flowers. Maybe I want another leaf. Maybe I don't want to fill it in as full as I'm going towards. Because, but I do. I want it to be filled in. I want this full. I want it to be abundant. Just abundantly joyful. That's what I'm doing. It's abundantly joyful. And the leaves are awesome for filling in spaces. Find places where they can be on top. Find places where they can look like they're tucking in underneath. There we go. So if you're new here, go ahead and click that subscribe button if you like what you see. I would love for you to say hello in the chat if you're here during the chat, or say hello in the comment section below the video. We're a fun group. We've got a good community of folks. And I love the community. I'm going to go ahead and toss another bigger flower right here. Before I fill everything in, I'm going to have it tucking in behind a few of those little flowers. And that was the reason for getting some of those flowers drawn on. Cookies! Yeah, lots and lots of cookies. So there we go. I have a little batch of well, I have a couple of the oatmeal raisin cookie, enough dough for a couple cookies. So I'm going to have to turn on the oven and get those baked up because I'm going to be in serious need of cookies. I'm going to put a leaf right here. Look at that. And then maybe part of a flower sticking out. See, you are not a copy machine. You do not have to make 375, sweetheart. Mark's gonna bake up my cookie dough for me. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. All right, so we're getting close on this one now. Wow. Leaf going up. Leaf going over. Couple leaves over here. I like the idea of this sort of being a little bit less packed up, right up, going up. I think I do want maybe just another leaf and maybe a leaf right here. See, you don't have to be a slave to the edge of that heart. You can go outside the edge. All right? It's just a guide, and it helps you to keep the spacing so that you can cut these apart and make them into valentines more easily. I'm looking at that going, I like it, I like it. Maybe another leaf coming this way and a leaf going around that way. And now I'm going to go in and just fill in a few little dots. And these are just sprinkled on. This is the picture that I did on the cover. So, see, this is the one when I watercolored it. I watercolored it like forget-me-nots. And then I used, it doesn't show up gold metallic on the printout because I don't have metallic inks in my printout, but on the original, which is right here, you can see the metallic paint that I used to fill in all those little circles. We'll be playing with that in the next show. But for now, I'm just going to get these dots on, fitting them around, scattering them like I threw sprinkles or confetti. If you're slow and careful, you can actually make really round dots. Some of mine end up being very odd shaped. Some of them are going to get tucked down here around the flower. There we go. Like that. Maybe there's actually going to be a couple just dots randomly scattered around. That way I can drop some other texture and pattern. See, it doesn't have to be perfect circles. All right, I'm going to erase the pencil lines, and then we have 4 hearts done. 4 hearts, 4 hearts, 4 doodle hearts. Oh yeah. So this one, again, not a copy machine, but you know that I was looking at this when I drew this one, right? But they worked out. They don't always have to be perfect. They are beautiful the way they are. I am going to zoom out. Look at that. We have 4 fun doodle hearts done. 2 more to go. And I do have another piece of paper with hearts drawn on it. If you weren't here at the beginning, I have a template available on deliberately-creative or deliberately-creative.com. And it's on my most recent blog post, the heart template. You can just click on it. It will open up bigger, right click, and save as. And save it to your download folder if you're on a computer. If you're on a phone, you should be able to just do a long hold on it, and it should come up and say, what do you want to do? And you say, save to my gallery, and then you can print it. If you've got the printing set up on your gallery. If you don't, then you can email it to your computer and then print it. But this, I printed, the first one I printed just on text paper so that you could see. You could print this on text paper. You could fold it and use scissors and kind of cut out your heart. Now my heart is not totally symmetrical, and that's part of the charm. So what I did is I took a very dull, oh my gosh, it looks like I had badgers try and chew this out for me. It is I need to get new blades for my craft knife. But I just drew around with the craft knife and cut out the inside of the hearts. So they are not all perfect. But then I just set it down on top of my watercolor paper and quickly ran around it with the pencil. So I have this fun outline ready to start doodling up with our next heart. This one is roses and hearts with this lovely little eyelet type of background. So there we go. Thank you so much, guys. I think that they're really pretty too, and they work out so well for so many different things. You're not limited to, let's see. You're not limited to just using them as Valentine cards. These are fun to use for anybody. So I'm looking at this. I'm going to put these flowers in first. The big one right here. I am going to hit stop and start. Stop and start. And get my phone set up so that I can maybe get this going. All right. So this one, we're going to do a swirl, and I'm going to go ahead and do it just straight with my pen. By doing it straight with my pen, I keep some of that spontaneity. So we have the swirl. You can make it as tight as you want. And then you can stack your petals. They are just sort of long, squished letter N's, letter U's, depends on letter C, depends on which direction you are drawing them. But see, you're just moving them around and overlapping the previous petals. And your next set of petals gets bigger as you go. See? Now, if you want, you can go in and do more like crossing back over it and making it more detailed. I like it this way. So I'm going to leave it this way. I'm going to give it leaf and another leaf. Very strong veins on a rose leaf, but you know what? I'm not making them serrated edged. I'm not making them jagged edged. Where did my just blank piece of paper go? There it is. Just to keep my hands from smearing pencil that's on the paper. All right. So I've got this one. I'm going to put a leaf down here. These types of doodle flowers can fill in a space so quickly. I'm going to put this next little rose right here. I love roses and hearts. I'm going to make petal. These are overlapping. I kind of start out with like 3 and then work up maybe 4 or 5. But I do try and keep them overlapping, because the petals in a rose are very spirally. And this one, I'm going to have its leaf coming down and be like the bottom point of the heart. And I only put the lines on the one side on that one. And I only put the lines on the one side of this one. A few things I'm looking at it going, okay, what did I do? Let's do a few things the same way. We've got a bit of a leaf right there. And a bit of a leaf right here. We've got 3 more roses. This one is full of roses, isn't it? I kind of went up and did this rose. Look for the rose that's on top. Do it next. What I mean by that is this rose right here, you see the whole thing. None of it is being overlapped by any other flower. So I did it first. Then it looks like I came down here and did this one. The reason why I know is because it's overlapping the one next to it, which means that anything that's overlapped is done later. So do this swirly heart first, then, or swirly rose, then do this swirly rose, and then the farthest left one. You just got the book. Excellent. You know, it's nice, even if you want to draw and doodle these, it's nice to have the little booklet because it gives you ideas. You might not do everything exactly the same way, but it gives you ideas on how to draw another rose or another flower. Or I'm going to go like this and put that leaf in, because that leaf is above this rose. So that's cool. And guys, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate every single person who is watching these videos, who's clicking that like button, subscribing to the channel, sharing videos with their friends. You know, it all helps. I'm going to make another rose right here. You can swirl to the left or swirl to the right. Sounds like I was getting ready to start calling a square dance or something. What was it? Allemande left? Then Allemande right? I remember doing square dancing as in physical education in junior high school. We had a dancing unit where we had to, oh my gosh, touch boys' hands. That was, you know, when you're 11 years old, that is just not something that's on your list. And the boys' hands were always clammy. So, you know, it was just one of those things. I'm going to do that last heart right here, or last rose right here. I guess I like swirling around to the left. I think that's something that Tangles with Dawn was actually talking about, how you have preferences. And many of those preferences are based on which hand you are. So if you're left-handed, you might do something to the right. And if you're right-handed, you might do something to the left. And it's just preference. It's not right or wrong. There we go. And now I'm going to tuck some of these little hearts. Just because I'm going to say they're like little heart flowers. Not like the bleeding heart flowers. These aren't hanging upside down. They're just like heart-shaped petal flowers. Just because they're fun to do. And they're also fun to color. They could be leaves. All right, I need to go ahead and put my little pencil grid in. Actually, I'm going to do one more sticking up. There. Okay, so I'm going to put that pencil grid in so that we can get that little eyelet lace going on in the background. But first, I want some of these veins on the leaves. And I know I'm going to be painting them. I don't really need to put the veins on the leaves, but it's just one of those things. Sometimes you see something and you're like, I want that. So now I'm going to go and just draw my grid lines. And I'm drawing my grid lines just straight over everything, because it's with pencil, so I can erase the lines. I don't have to worry about them. See, I'm going to put one more right there. And this grid, let's see. I'm trying to think, what kind of a grid did I do? Those are, okay. Just like that. Just get that grid in there. And the reason why I'm doing it across all of it like that is just so I can have a place to shoot for, my brain. See, and that's part of the getting into that other side of your brain, is that you don't have words. I'm going to do the little dots first. So what I'm going to do is in the corner, little dots, 4 in the corner like this. And then I am going to do them 4 in the corner like this. 4 in the corners, or whatever I can see. So 3. I can maybe see part of one there and part of one there and not the rest. 4 in the corner right here. Just working my way around. 4 in the corner. I'm keeping the dots kind of smallish. I just heard the oven preheated. If you use the cookie scoop to scoop them out, separate them about 2 inches apart and bake them for about 10 minutes, maybe 10 to 12. Oh, okay. Well, then I'm not sure. Just keep an eye on them. Probably 9 to 12 minutes. So I'm going and just doing those circles. I was giving my husband directions on how to bake the cookie dough. So I'm putting these little circles in, little dots, on the 4 corners. just like this. And you can stop with just having that as a pattern. And that would be fun. Just a nice little geometric style pattern. I'm going to say there's part of that one right there. Part of that one right there. And now I am going to do, in those spaces between, I'm going to make that rice shape. So it's going to be the 4 dots and 4 dots. And remember, you've got lines that are going through like this. On the line between the dots, I'm going to do a rice shape, just like this. Okay, so that's our next step. We're going to do these shapes between the dots. All right. And they're not going to be super long and they're not going to be super long, but they're going to be skinny. Skinny little rice shapes. And you're going to do it on the up and down and on the crossways. Now, I'm sure this is a pattern out there also, but this is just something that I made up for myself. Many years ago, when Zentangle first started being really popular, and it's still very popular, and Zentangle is an actual like way of doing all of this, where I am doodle drawing. I'm doodling my designs in. I'm not doing it in the Zentangle way, because Zentangle tends to not use drawn pencil grids, or they don't recommend using erasers, a whole bunch of stuff. And well, I like to make it fun and easy and enjoyable, and I don't like having rules being told you have to do it a certain way to do, for it to be called that, that Zentangle, which is a, trademarked and all of that. I don't want to be told that I have to do it X way. I want to say, work it out. Work it out. So now I've worked it out. Yeah, Zentangle can get very complex. But generally speaking, anytime you're making a pattern, ooh, my eraser picked up a color of some kind off my desk. That's the problem with kneaded erasers, is that you can pick up little bits of color. So there we go. I just cleaned up my eraser by pulling and twisting. Number 5 is done. Actually, I'm looking at that going, it kind of flattened out on the side here. I don't want it to be flat. So I'm going to make little tiny see? Few little tiny ones right there. And maybe even a little tiny one right there. And a little bit of one right here. Because that is what my heart wanted. And that also makes me feel like I want another leaf right here. So put it in. If you feel it, put it in. Enjoy the process. So I see, you know, designs here. Look at that. We've got our 5th heart pattern done. That one. They are different. They are different. I'm going to drop that leaf right in there. Look at that. I like it. I like it a lot. And now we are going to do the one that's at the back cover of the book with the butterflies. Look at that. I love this one. This is one of my favorite ones. So, you know, I think it's fitting that it's the last one. And I went in and drew my butterflies first. Yep, everyone will be unique. Everyone will be gorgeous. I love it. So these butterflies are really super, super easy butterflies. So when you're doing the butterfly, you put one of those long, skinny rice shapes, and then you're basically making 4 petals. So you're going to do 2 petals opposite each other like this, and then you're going to make 2 more petals. All right. Butterflies are flowers that just fly. Little hearts on the ends of their antennas. And then you can do a stacked petal for the inside of the wings, like that. Or not. It's up to you. It's all up to you. You can also give them a little head. Again, it's up to you. So we're going to go in, and I am going to do it with the pen. I'm going to put my big one in first. So I'm giving him his body and his little head. We're going to go petal. It's easier if you think of the wings like petals. Now, look at that. I've got a really big one and a really smaller one. I can go to the outside of the one that's a little bit smaller and the inside of the one that was a little bit bigger. And look at that. They're pretty much the same size now. And now I'm going to put a petal that's down here. And make kind of a giant teardrop in the bottom petals, the bottom wing. Give the little antenna, and I like these cute little hearts on these antennas. They just make me so happy. I'm going to do a little butterfly right here. And every single one will be different. You can put big petals on the top wing and smaller ones on the bottom wings if you want to. And if you just put 2 little dots next to that antenna, it makes it feel kind of like hearts without it being too fussy. All right, Bonnie, take care. And Tangi is not, actually Tangi does have the ability to message. You can message creators on Tangi. You do have to make an account, but it's not really a messaging service. It's not like a messenger. It's more like making comments generally. So, you know, it's, but you can message. I don't tend to check messages on there. So, and more so the messaging that I do is with other video creators. So I'm just making more petals. Oh, look at that. That petal is going to go behind his antennas. His little head is forward on this one. Cool. There we go. Just get these little guys in. Cute little butterflies. And that's all the detail I'm putting on those butterflies. I am going to go in now and make these pretty little flowers with lots of different shapes. So first up is this one right here. It's a circle with an outer circle with a tiny little circle inside, and then I've got little V's coming off of that little circle. And I put little dots around the tops of those. That's kind of like the center of, it actually reminds me of the center of a poppy seed, a poppy pod. Then we've got petals. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm doing 6. And then a deeper V for those pretty little fold lines in the petal. That one's done. Next one up is going to be over to the side here. I'm going to drop this one down a little bit. I'm making my flowers a little bigger, so I might not get all of these flowers to fit in. That's okay. Neat thing is, this is really a sampler of doodle flowers. You were waiting for this one. Excellent. Excellent. All right, so now these petals are longer, a little bit pointy. I'm going to have it stretched just outside of it's stretched a little bit outside the heart, and it's getting a line and a dot, line and a dot. All right, we've got another one down here. This one, what I did is I drew a kind of a hashtag in the middle of the circle, and then I went out and did a heart. However many petals I want, I'm doing a line with a heart. That's going to be in the center. You can do the petal first and then do your little lines and hearts. It actually makes me think of little light bulbs. All joined up together. Wouldn't that be cute? Little garden light. There's leaf on this one. Leaf there. I'm going to go ahead and just start putting some of the leaves in. This is really down in the garden. Down in the garden. I have a multiple leaves coming up this way. So branch, and wherever I put a little branch, I'm going to put a little leaf. And the leaf, I'm actually going to have it, that little branch actually becomes the center of my leaf. Just like that. That's fun. That's fun. I love this little flower that's got the star in the center. I think it works really well down here. So, and I put little tiny scoops. It doesn't take much to fill in the center of one of those. So, however you want to fill in the center is how you fill it in. I'm going to make my big petals first, and then I will come back and put that star. All right. Around the circle, I'm going to go out and come back. When you go out and come back, you make these long, skinny petals, and it makes it feel like a star. And then you can put a little dot at the end of it, just for decoration. Now this one was secret. This one has a secret key. All right, I'm going to draw the key. You don't have to put it in. It made me happy to know that there was a little hidden key here. So my key is like an old-fashioned skeleton key. So it's a circle with a bar. See, it's a circle, and then the circle on the inside. And then it has the rod, and it has the little place where the teeth are. And, you know, this is the spot where you might end up spending a little bit more time if that is something that makes you happy to do. Don't spend time on it if it's not going to make you happy. But it makes me think, you know, the key to my heart. So, there we go. Just doing it with the pencil first, then that makes it so I can see where my little pen lines are going to go. Do it in pencil first, then I can see where those pen lines are. I'm going to leave a space on the side of that open so that I can kind of hide that under a leaf a little bit. And the back of this is going to come like that. There's going to be a little bit seen. Doing it like this, we can hide it. If we leave some of the pen lines out, we can hide it with stuff. So now I'm just going to erase the pencil marks for that little key. And I want to go in and just sort of make a couple little extra lines, sort of make it feel a little bit more dimensional. But there's also, it's laying in some rocks. And there's a flower behind it. So I want that flower. See? You can just make things work out. It's not exactly the same as the original, and that's okay. I'm looking at that going, there's some rocks piled up. You can always fill with dots and circles. So if you end up with a big space and you're tired of making flowers, you can pile up a whole bunch of rocks. I'm not tired of making flowers, but this area right here was laying in the dirt, basically. Maybe it's the key to the secret garden that the robin shows to Mary Lennox. Yeah, that was one of my most favorite books growing up when I was little. Frances Hodgins Burnett, the author, The Secret Garden. That and the Lucy Maud Montgomery books for Anne of Green Gables and the entire Anne series, Laura Ingalls Wilder, and the Little House series. I was a reader. I still love books. I still love to read. I don't find as much time to read. Sometimes I have to just listen to my books on audio as I'm working. Yeah, so Jan, you've been here long enough. If you can say the name of your art page. Actually, it's Serendipity Soul Fluid Art with Jan. And she's been here and is a valued supporter on my Patreon, and I love to support my community. So if you have you can say the name, you just can't drop the link. Okay, Jan? Because you're not a moderator, so you don't have the access to drop links yet. If you want to be a moderator, I can certainly put you in as a moderator. Because you, my friend, have been here for more than a minute. All right. So the key is done. It's down in the dirt. We'll be able to see it a little bit more. Might put it in with a little bit of some, maybe a little metallic gold or metallic bronze or something for the key. Now I want to get at least a couple of these like foxgloves. I really like those. So I want one that's coming up here in the center, and I'm going to come up with 2 lines. And then in front, I'm going to start making these little open U shapes. And they need to stay open because you're going to stack on top of them. And stack smaller and smaller as you go. See? And then you can come along and add an extra set of petals going to the back. So foxgloves or lupin, that type of a thing. So I'm going to put another one going this other direction because that was kind of fast. So we've got the stem that comes up. We have one U shape that we put right over the top edge of that stem, right? And then we have two more on either side. You do the same thing. One that's in front and two more on either side. They get smaller as they go up and away. And then you might end up with little dots at the very end. And then you can fill in a couple extra. Give it a little bit of sort of a dot at the front edge. And that gives you that feeling of them being a little bit rounded. I like the kind of wild garden feel. I'm going to say there's one more that's coming up this way. It's curving in. You've got your open U shapes, overlap, they get smaller as they go up and away, and then you might end up with just a few that just sort of end up being little dots. You can go back down and add a few more around the back. Give it a few little open dots. That just makes it feel like the ends of those flowers are open. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, Jan, so happy to have you as a moderator. And as a moderator, you have the ability to put links. So if there is a link to your page and you want to put it down, I would love to have you share it right now if you want to. So I'm just putting a couple little flowers. I think I want some little leaves. This is a wild garden. This is a little country garden. We've got leaves, we've got fun little flowers and plants, butterflies. And I am so excited that this one is coming down to being finished being drawn. The next live stream for continuing our marathon today, the next live stream is scheduled for 12:30. So that gives us a chance to, get up and stretch, eat something, say hello to our family members, feed other people if they need to be fed, feed ourselves. I'm putting kind of a funny little leafy thing. Could be like the leaves of the lupin or the foxglove, or could just be a funny little filler too. Funny little filler is what it is. And now the last thing, I'm just going to put little tiny circle dots filling in. They can be magical fairy dust. It can be anything you want it to be. Could be snow falling in spring. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to have snow falling in spring. I think it's magical fairy dust. And It would be really pretty with, you know, some magical glitter type pen going along. These are fun to color in. If you do it on watercolor paper, you can do watercolor and then go in with your gel pens or your metallic or glitter pens and just have a blast. If you just joined us and you don't want to draw all of these fun pieces of heart art, you can get all of the original art, which is in the book. This right here is from my book of, let's flip the page back. So we have the booklet with all of the artwork. Right like that. And you can print it out on text weight paper, tuck it into an envelope, and it says, you know, with all my love, creative hearts full of flowers. And then you have 6 lovely pages to color. But you can print out on watercolor paper. Take those out of the way. You can print out on watercolor paper and make it into a little folio book. And you have 6 cards that can be sent as postcards, because this is legal U.S. Postal Service size postcards. You've got, it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it's over the postcard size, you know, in the postcard size, 1 postcard stamp. Put your little sentiment on the back of it and mail it off. So you can do that also. These are available instant download on Teespring. And the link is in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and erase off those little pencil guides that we had. Oh my goodness, look at that. So, the last one in the book, let's see, because my cards are in different order because I just dropped them in here. There it is. So look at that. Not too bad, huh? The one that I just drew is a little bit wider, and that's okay. It's still very similar. It has that same type of a feel to it. I'm looking at that going, I think I'm just going to fill in some spots here with a few more little rocks. There we are. We have 6 pieces. Let's zoom all the way out. All the way out. Yeah, it's been fun having you guys here chatting. And 12:30, we're going to be meeting back here to color these fun hearts. I am probably going to cut mine apart just to make them easier to paint. Or I could just leave them all together. It's easier to paint them if they're cut apart. But look at that. We did all of that in 2 hours and a half-ish. I think that is amazing. You have 6 hand-drawn flower heart cards, postcards, card fronts, a coloring book that you can print out for yourself and give to others, make your own little folio book and print them up. You would need a little extra postage if you put this into an envelope. I think it's a little heavy, but you know, an extra stamp on it. It's a little heavier than an ounce. You would be able to send somebody a whole set of these that you drew yourself. Or you can download the book, print them out, and send somebody a whole set of these that I drew for you. Remember that we're coming back here at 12:30 Pacific Standard Time today. So about 45-minute break. We'll be back and having fun. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you really soon. Oh, and if you're not coming back, go out and do something creative. Take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. And I'll see you soon.